Okay.
All
All
right.
right. So it looks we're recording now. Um, so I have the pleasure of introducing you guys to David Raine. And just out of full disclosure, I know this person. You want to be honest. So I do want to let you guys know that I do know him. We are friends and we met in New York City. While I was living there, he was living at the same time. I'm going to let him introduce himself and just tell you a little bit about who he is, kind of like what he's doing. And then we're going to get into some questions. Okay. All right.
All right. Hey, everybody. I am David M. Raine, and I am a professional entertainer. Certain levels to it. I'm an actor, I'm a writer, and I'm also a singer-songwriter. So throughout my life, all those different things have kind of facilitated, and I've worked in all of them and kept myself busy in order to stay in the industry for over 30 years now. Yeah.
I'm going to interject. When I met you, you were, working on getting into the industry. And I think at that time it was modeling first, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And he's a prolific singer. And so I did have the opportunity to sing backup, believe it or not, y'all. For a minute.
It was amazing. Yeah. And you spun off and did your own thing for a minute. And some poetry and
So it was just a wonderful opportunity, but I just wanted to add that in there.
Okay. Yeah. Modeling. So I did study from the age of 13 professionally, but it was musical theater. And I guess this would go into, no, actually I didn't, this isn't in any of the questions, but I was going to say, am I going to repeat myself? But so musical theater at the time in the 80s, for a man of color, there wasn't any really valuable characters that were available. It was always the tap dance guy, the street thing, you had to be blues, fried chicken eating and that kind of thing. And I'm a rock and roller. So I'm like rock, folk, that's my thing. So I was actually an anomaly. I was different than most. So I had to literally abandon what I was trained to do, which was musical theater. That was my first love.
And let me ask you, what is musical theater? Just to say
so musical theater is when you have drama that is accompanied by song. So like there's a lot of like Disney, you watch a lot of Disney movies and they'll be having a scene and then someone breaks into a song. That's musical theater. It's a lot of that's on Broadway. So so a lot of what now it's great. I mean, you got shows like Rent, Aladdin, all these different, shows where people of color can get involved and be stars and have strong character. But it just wasn't like that, you know what I mean, in the 80s. So I had to find other things, and my own music became one of the things. And I broke one of the I guess the glass ceiling. Can we say that for men too? But I think I broke a glass ceiling. I was the first man of color to lead Hair across Europe, which was normally a white character. So I did, but it was Europe. It wasn't America. Good old America is always a little slow at breaking barriers and opening up. But I did tour Europe for a while. It was amazing. So that was my break-in. But as soon as I got back, there really wasn't much. There was Rent. Rent was about to happen. But that was about it. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you a couple questions. And when I was thinking of when you were talking in terms of musical theater examples, like Hamilton, that would be musical theater too.
That's
right?
totally. That's 100% musical theater.
Yeah, that's what we're talking
about. In the Heights.
That's right. In the Heights.
Yeah.
So this is our first question, and we're calling this Fireside Chat with Mr. Boaitey. All right, so if you could give advice to your middle school self, say your 12, 13, 14-year-old self, what would it be and why?
Yeah, I like this question. There's a quote that I heard recently that I wish I had heard when I was 12 or 13. And it says, comparison is a form of self-abuse. One of the biggest things I would have said when I was that age is don't compare yourself. Allow yourself to see your own light, your own dream, the way you see life, the way you want to see life, the way you want to create life. And don't compare yourself to other people. Because what you do, as soon as you start comparing, you basically you stop being your best. You can only be your best if you're focused on yourself. So if you're focused on someone else, you're not doing you. And so the comparison itself actually keeps you from being your best. There is no competition. That's a lie that people pump into you. You got to get out there and you got to be number one. It's like, no, you have to be number you. You know what I mean? Like, you have to do the best you can do, and comparing yourself is going to limit that every time.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Did you go to college? And if so, why did you go? Where did you go? And describe the experience and how it impacted your life, who you are, and what you are doing today. And if not, why didn't you go? And describe your experiences and how they impacted your life and who you are and what you're doing today.
Right. So at 16, I knew I was going to be an artist. I did get accepted to Syracuse University. I got accepted to NYU, and I got accepted to the University of Arts in Philadelphia. But I got a scholarship to the American Musical and Dramatic Academy in New York. So I told my mom, I was like, she was cool with it because she saw how serious I was about the craft. And she gave me permission to just follow my dream and just be an artist. So I skipped college in that form, but I didn't skip study. That's the thing. So I still studied my butt off on my craft, on the work of music, on the work of theater. And anything that I was curious about in an academic sense, you might even remember, I always had a library. I always had books. Whenever I had any kind of interest in anything academic, I would just read. I didn't think that being an artist was the end all be all. You have to have worldly knowledge, And so I made sure that I did my own reading and my own studying. And if you can, if you can travel. If you can't read, I did both. I was blessed, but you know what I mean? That's what it was. So, so that leads to the fact that I became a professional artist and have always been. A couple of here and there when we were young, a couple of jobs at a restaurant and stuff like that. But for the most part, I've really never had to take on another serious job outside of the arts.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's not the case for a lot of people. And I would never say to you, oh, just drop everything and go be an artist. Like, it's probably one of the dumbest things that you can decide to do. But you have to have a true belief in yourself and longevity, because
and I just interject you. It's just it's because it's not the norm. I will say, it's as if you're an entrepreneur, like you're going out on your own kind of thing. That's what makes it a little. The challenges are because you have to handle all of that. Everything that way.
Yeah, you show up at a job and even now you go to school. You show up at school, this is where I sit. These are my teachers. These are my classes. And it's the same until the end of the year. As an actor, I might wake up and I got to learn how to do a new craft. I have to learn how to do a new trick. I have to change dialects. I just last week, I had to speak in an island dialect, in a Caribbean dialect for an audition for a television show. Yeah. And it has to be believable. So I took an entire day and I studied. I went on to YouTube and I watched dialect coaches and I worked on it, and then I was prepared for my audition. So it's not, you have to kind of, like you were saying, just on the what do you call it? On the whim, not on the whim, but on the fly. Yeah. On the fly. You have to be prepared to shift, switch, do whatever you got to do in order to keep yourself going. So, yeah.
Let me ask you something. Do you think that if your mother did not give you her blessing to do that, do you think that it would have been a little different?
Yeah, years ago, I thought about that. I was like, I kind of entertained that wonder, I probably would have gone to the University of Arts. So it is still an arts university, but it would have been heavy academic as well. Right. So I have friends.
Yeah. No, I was just saying it's hard to say because you're just thinking like, I was just curious that because it's nice to have that where your parents understand that and they're like, okay, go, it's okay, because that's them risking too. Not risking, but that's unconventional. you
Yeah.
know?
No, that's an extra worry. It's like,
Yeah.
ooh,
Right.
you know what I mean? Because you're
Right.
literally sending your child without, there were no provisions. You know,
Right.
you have provisions when you go to college because you have your dorm, you got your this, you got your that. But going into, I'm just going to move to New York and be an artist.
Right.
Okay, you know, we, oops. That's for the next class.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, so it's yeah, and to hang with that,
Yeah.
it's wild. You got to be strong.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely,
you know?
absolutely, and maintain that focus.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, let me ask you this: what does success mean to you, and would you call yourself successful? Why or why not?
So this is interesting. If I can, I did write notes for this one. Absolutely. Read more than off the dome because I think I shared it pretty well. So everyone will bear with me. So first of all, I do consider myself successful. But I said, however, you first need to define your own meaning of successful in order to move towards accomplishing it. So if it's just a word next to dollar signs, then you're going to be lost at the gate and you're going to be lost your entire life. So if you're considering success wealth, that's the silliest thing you can do because you're going to drive yourself nuts. And even if you do get to the wealth, you're not going to feel successful if you don't have other things involved in it. So I said, to me, being successful is a combination of things with levels involved. So level one possibly could be, are you personally happy? Are you considered to be a genuinely good person by others? Do you have all you need to create a healthy life? Are you fulfilled, yet excited to grow? Because that's another thing. Being fulfilled, but still excited, you know, not hungry, like, oh, I just can't be satisfied, but a joy to learn and grow. And what's the next thing? You know what I mean? But doing it with joy, you know, not doing it with anxiety. And then the next level would be, if your life was to be turned upside down, you know, catastrophe or something happened, would you be able to gain it all right back? And that's a level of success because things happen. We get derailed, things go really bad. But can you gain all of it back and actually come back even stronger and better? That means you were already successful, you know? And then if you couldn't work, or if you couldn't work for like, would you be able to manage for a year or more off of either savings or passive income? And passive income is when you've created some sort of investment where your money is making money. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be wealth. Again, you don't have to be rich. You just have to be doing well. Okay. You know, that's success. And then, you know, and then the next thing is the next level. Are you participating in philanthropy? Are you giving to charities? Are you helping other people that are doing less than you, that are having a harder time? And have you made someone else's life better just by being in it? Yeah. That's success, you know? So yeah, it goes on and on, but you know, what matters most is that you have your own definition, that you're not following some other definition. And kind of goes back to question one, don't compare yourself. Yeah. You know, if somebody else is a millionaire entertainer or a millionaire lawyer or this and that, it's like, okay, that's their journey. What's my journey and what does it mean? And stay in touch with your heart the entire time, you know? Yeah.
I really appreciate that. It's, you know, my father passed away in 2008. No, 8. No, it's just a couple. Yeah, 18. It's like
18. Okay.
Yes, 18. And years before then, I think when my daughter was about 2 or 3, something like that, we were talking. Our relationship blossomed before it was non-existent, and it blossomed. And I remember I was picking him up. I forgot where we were going. And he said to me, "Joe, you are a success." I was like quiet. I was like, And he said, "You are doing it. You have your own family. You are a man. You are living. You are taking care of yourself. You are taking care of your family. You don't have any wants. You are a man. You are successful." And I remember thinking about him because he started his own business. I mean, I do think he was a genius. He is. He invented, a portable grinding machine and marketed that
Wow.
thing to developing countries. I mean, the things he did was amazing. And it was
Yeah.
interesting the way he said it because it follows the line of what you're saying. He had to grow to that because I don't think initially his drive was that way. Initially, it was like, let's make lots of money. Really,
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
And all of a sudden, it kind of got into this place of like, happiness and peace, and what brings that to you, where you're calm, and truly, when you're at that place, you attract so much to you. So
Right. You
suddenly,
have everything you
coming
need.
to you, that's right, and you're like, okay, because that's who you are at that. So it's I agree with that. It's a wonderful way to put that. So
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, One of the things we talk a lot about in this program, AVID, AVID stands for Advancement via Individual Determination. So the students in the program have to arrive at that place where they find that it's for them, where they're like, this, I'm going for it.
Right.
Sometimes it takes a minute before you click and go, I see what I need to do and I'm going for it. We all have to do that, right?
Yep. Yep.
And so we're it's termed, or the way we're terming this is for all students to be inspired to go forward, whether it's college or career. And
Mhm.
so being college and career ready takes, as we know, grit, persistence, perseverance, not giving up, and being open to new ideas. How did you develop or cultivate this essential skill?
Yeah. Well, it took, well, it's really interesting. Even as a really young child, I would plan things out.
Yeah.
So one of the most important things is to have a plan. It doesn't mean that the plan's going to go as every point you set, but what happens is no matter what the derailment is, you know where to get back to. So I, even at like preteen, I had planned it out. You know what I mean? This is what it looks like. I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna do that.
You have
So
like timelines and stuff? Was it like that?
there were some timelines, but I allowed the timelines to be flexible. So I did have timelines. I was like, okay, by this age, yeah. But once I started getting into the gritty of life,
Yeah.
I realized that age doesn't matter. It's like you just need to stay on the path, and the path elongates, it speeds up, it shortens, it does all these different things, you know what I mean? And it's like, but as long as you're on it, you're always going to be on time. How's that?
Yeah.
So that's yeah, a plan is like number one. And what else was it? That's so just having it, but also write it down, make it physical. Like make it something that physically exists, because if it's just here, then it'll fade and some other thing will influence you and this and that. But then write it down and respect it, put it somewhere. You know what I mean? Date it, revisit it, add to it, make it like a program. Like your life is a business. Like you are a business. You are the CEO of you, So it's like all these things have to be taken seriously. Your dreams have to be taken seriously. You believing in yourself, like that's the thing. So we're kids and we're like, oh, I want this. I want that red car, and then, oh, now I want the blue car. And it's like the thing is, when people have all that going on, it's because they're afraid to believe in their dream. So they want, they consume, but they don't have anything. So the idea is allow yourself to, what you want. We all know what we want. You know what I mean? That voice talks to us before we fall asleep at night. Sometimes it's the first voice we hear when we wake up. Listen to it, love it, respect it, write it down, and follow it. And then again, I don't know why. It's interesting. I didn't realize this. It keeps going back to the first question. Don't compare. Don't compare your dream. Don't compare your light. Don't compare your talent. Just love it. Love yourself. So embrace the journey with joy is what I just look. I keep checking my own notes here. The benefit of a solid plan is that when the roadblocks and detours appear, and they most certainly will, you have one eye on the path that you're creating, while the other eye is maneuvering through the surprise turn. So embrace the journey with joy, but never be reckless.
It's interesting you say that, because those are some of the principles of the program in terms of having a goal, you know, and making a plan. You know, practically, you know, so you can see it. Even in terms of academics, like really checking your grades and really being clear about what is it that you need? What is that point of confusion? Literally.
Right.
Can you articulate that? And then just working to get at that, you know, is very much of what we're talking about.
Because you also learn what your strengths are.
Absolutely.
And your weaknesses.
Absolutely.
Like you said, if you go into it, then you go, oh, okay, so that's my weakness. That's something I have to keep an eye on.
Right.
And whenever that pops up in life, I got to realize I need special attention to myself for a minute.
Need some help. Right.
Yeah.
This is the, you know, I had 6 questions that I was asking, and so this is the last one. Is there anything else you'd like to say to the scholars who will be watching this?
Sure. I had a whole paragraph here, but I'll try to shorten it.
You know, you don't have to. Oh, good. Yeah.
So, well, I said, no matter what, every day, do 1 to 3 things that are natured in the progression of your career and life goals. So no matter what's happening, even if you have to schedule it, do 1 to 3 things. For instance, myself, I just got asked to do a workshop for a new musical. The musical I'm going to be doing in November. That's when we perform. Every day, starting now, I'm taking at least an hour to learn the guitar parts, to read through a scene and understand what that scene was about. So every single day, all the way up. So by the time I'm ready to perform, you know, but it's like, so, but with everything we do, and also some of it for me is fitness as well. I'm an actor. I'm a television and film actor. So every day, I either on the bike or what I eat, what I ingest, going to the gym, every single day I do something that has to do with the progression of myself, my life, my goal, and my career. So you can start that now at 12 years old.
Absolutely.
Just plan it out and be like, okay, every day I'm going to do this, this, and this, and then watch your progression. So when it comes time for you to actually perform it, whether it be something academic, entertainment, or whatever, you're going to be strong. It's like a muscle. It's a muscle you're working out.
Absolutely.
You know. So I said, the more you widen your vocabulary, that was the other thing. If you can't travel, I said this before, if you can't travel, then read. Okay. Every day you should be reading something, and it doesn't have to necessarily be school. If there's an interest you have, if there's a language you want to learn, if there's a culture that you're curious about, pick up a book or look at it online, however you read every single day, because it'll widen your vocabulary and it'll also widen your understanding of the world. And the more you understand the world and the wider your vocabulary is, the more comfortable you'll be in every public situation. So if you show up for an interview or you show up to a party as an adult and it's everyone that you work with is there, you will have such a solid comfort within yourself because you hold knowledge. You're an interesting person. You are an interesting person. We want to talk to you. Yeah, so that's the extra. And have fun, man.
I was trying to and I may not be able to do it in this call. I was trying to find, and I wanted to say it literally. And I have a quote that I came across. It's years ago from Oscar Wilde. Oscar Wilde, yeah. And I'm trying to see if I see it.
Oh, is it in your email?
Yeah, and I got it. It is what you read when you don't have to that determines what you will be when you can't help it. And it's so
I love it.
You know, and that's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, that's like, it's just life. And it does keep you like this. And it does propel you, puts you in that place, you know?
Yeah.
Self-fulfilling almost, if you will, just to say it in those terms, you know?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Man, there's no environment that you won't be able to fit in, because you will know something about almost everything.
Right, and you can do that.
And you can do that.
You know, it's like I'm telling on myself a little bit, but it was a few years ago. You know, I don't go to all these kind of little functions, and my wife was in a different capacity, so she's doing all this stuff. And at the time, she was serving on the Federal Reserve. She was on the board of the Federal Reserve's on the branch that was out on this way, St. Louis. This
Okay.
this part.
Yeah.
And so she asked me to go to. They were having a meeting or some sort of like a reception or something, and she was like, "I want you to come." And I was like, "I don't want to go." Like, just you know, you have your stereotype of what's going to be there, and you're just not. You know,
yeah, I know exactly.
Energy, like I just don't know.
Yeah.
And then she said, I really would like you to come if you can come with me. I think I just would really appreciate that. So I said, okay. So put on my suit, right? And so, you know, it's stereotypical what you think. All these high-level bankers, everyone's in that same kind of black, dark blue suit. Everyone looks like, and so we walk in, and we're standing there, and so the guy is speaking and all this stuff, and then one of the guys towards the end, like when they break, comes over to talk to my wife, and apparently the fraternity that I was in college, he was in.
Oh,
wow.
So
yeah, so she comes over to kind of talk to me, and this person is really a big purveyor of rice, Arkansas rice, right? Arkansas is actually one of the largest producers of rice.
I didn't know that. Wow.
I didn't know that either. So he starts talking to me, and it's exactly what you said. We could talk. Then somebody else came. I think he was actually from the Caribbean someplace. He came up, and next thing you know, we're all just, and then at the end, I'm like, oh, bye now. Come on, let's go, walk out. And it's interesting because it's very much of what you said, you know, like you can wax on a whole bunch of things. You really can. Yeah. And it's not that you consciously like, I need to learn about this, but that learning is cultivated in you. Right. Things you read, whether it's a newspaper, magazines, whatever it is, you're doing that. So it allows you to engage. Yep. And people want to engage with each other. You know, they want to be able to really meet, touch other folk. You know what I mean? Yeah. And they want to learn. So it's a wonderful thing. So you're right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, listen, I appreciate this. I really do. I know that you guys are, I mean, I know you're digging this, and so this is great. We're going to have a few more. I think we have about 12 people that will be doing these chats with, and you're our first. So before I let you go, I know that, you know, you've been on some movies on Netflix, you've been doing some stuff. Is there anything that the kids can maybe catch you on? I know on Netflix, they can always go back and see stuff.
That's true. Yeah. And if they have, there's some stuff on Amazon Prime. Okay. Which is probably an easier stream because Netflix has a certain time frame where they play stuff and then it moves on. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, I think the best, it's kind of like a weird, like the best thing to do would be, because I'm sitting here late, I'll be naming my entire resume. Right, you can't. But if you go to IMDb, right.com and then type in David M. Raine, R-A.
And what is IMDb?
IMDb is basically a movie and film mostly. I'm sorry, film and TV mostly. But it's a site where you can just basically type in any actor you're interested in, and you get their entire filmography of everything they've done. Yeah. So, like I said, if you go to imdb.com and type in David M. Raine, R-A-I-N-E, then you're gonna. I'm just gonna pop up my reels on there and all my filmography. So from there you can go, oh, okay, and then you can go find what it is. You know what I mean? Because otherwise,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Oh man, thank you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Yeah. And I hope the kids enjoy it. That's awesome. It's really special. You guys are lucky.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. All right, brother.
You guys, so we're gonna close now, and I'm gonna let you guys just take a minute, take some notes, and we'll talk. But let's thank Mr. Raine. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.